Welcome to Top Stories Today. Please subscribe and then check notification box to get all breaking news alert. Robert Mueller caught red-handed trying to steal Congress's most dangerous constitutional right. Special counsel Robert Mueller seems to have many in mainstream media and on the progressive left fooled, convinced he is some kind of an upstanding public servant. In the threat matrix, Garrett Graff writes that both political parties respect Mueller as a consummate law enforcement professional with a track record, forged in Vietnam, of grace under fire in getting organizations on track. Yet, that veneer is starting to wear thin with moderates, independents, libertarians, conservatives, and pretty much any other thinking person that is willing to actually consider the facts. Many are no longer fooled by Mueller's Boy Scout Act, and critics point out that Mueller's actions along with the corruption and complicity of the FBI may be the downfall of America as we know it. Political commentator Mark Levin points out that Mueller has and continues to undermine the Constitution and the very foundation of the United States of America with his continued investigation. He states that the very nature of the investigation itself is unconstitutional, as the framers never intended for one single man to have the power to impeach the President of the United States. It utterly obliterates the entire idea of checks and balances. If Mueller has nothing on President Donald Trump at all, then he is simply trying to railroad him and overthrow a legitimately elected leader to the office of president. But, if Mueller does actually have any evidence at all, then it would be up to Congress to make the decision as to whether that offense is worthy of impeachment, not Mueller and his team of sycophants. Levin states, Mr. Mueller wants to interview the president, and he wants to interview him under the most onerous circumstances. What is the purpose of an interview like that, based on those 49 general areas? His purpose is to indict the president. Now, what's the purpose of indicting the president? To try the president and to find him guilty. What's the purpose of a conviction? It's to remove the president of the United States from office. That's the bottom line. No president has ever been indicted while in office. Not one. No president has ever been forced before a federal grand jury, not one. No president has ever been removed from office by the United States Senate and 2/3 vote of the Senate. Not one. Mueller's purpose, his purpose is to remove the president. Levin goes on to explain exactly what that could mean and why it is so dangerous. That means one man, one jury will usurp the entire constitutional power of Congress, the power to remove a president. You can indict every other public official, a judge, for instance, while they're in office, and go through the impeachment process. You cannot do it with the president. As this Russian collusion investigation heads towards the 2-year mark with still no proof of wrongdoing in sight, Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders appeared to speak for many Americans when she expressed frustration, stating, "The president is frustrated by the continued witch hunt of the Russia investigation, and he'd love for this to come to a full conclusion so that everyone can focus fully on the thing that he was elected to do." Levin rightly goes on to point out that in his opinion it is way past time for the subversive AG Jeff Sessions to step up, and it is time for the corrupt anti-American Rod Rosenstein to pay attention. Both of those things are unlikely to happen, given that their loyalties lie outside of the well-being of this country. The discussion about potential indictments, and all of the associated chatter from various attorneys claiming to be some level of expert involving issues so bizarre as to defy comprehension with what the original framers of the Constitution and the original founders of this country had in mind originally at this country's inception. Levin believes the entire purpose that the progressive left and their media lapdogs are hanging their hat on Mueller is they'll never get 2/3 votes in the Senate to remove this president. I don't care if they impeach him, they'll never get 2/3 votes. It's never happened before. Levin explains, so what they're hoping to do is trap him in this notion of a subpoena and questioning, indict him, try and humiliate him, try and force him in front of a court, hope that they get the Supreme Court on their side, which I doubt they will, but you never know with these courts, and then get him to resign. That's their game plan. Mr. Mueller is undermining the Constitution. He's not upholding the rule of law. What's going on right now is anti-constitutional. It is undermining our system. The framers wanted the body politic to decide on whether or not to remove one branch of government, just as the body politic put that person there in the first place. After nearly 2 years of no proof, no crime, and no evidence committed by President Trump and his administration, yet the ever-growing mountain of evidence mounting of crimes and obstruction of justice on the part of the crooked Department of Justice, FBI and Obama-Clinton-Soros mafia. The swamp is very, very deep and a very dangerous place for good, decent people to venture into. What do you think about this? Please share this news and scroll down to comment below, and don't forget to subscribe. Top Stories Today.